So dear friends, in this part we're going to learn about one of the most important parts of the technical work in BIM. So one thing that if you don't understand it well, any projects can have the good accuracy and good discipline. I mean LOD, LOI, and LOIN. So the reality is that all of the structures of the modeling and controlling of the information in BIM are based on these comprehensions that you can see in here. So you have to listen carefully because this part is one of those parts that wherever you go in future, you will be asked about the LOD, LOI, or LOIN. So at the first part, I'm going to talk about the LOD and LOI, that what they are exactly and what kind of relationships they have with each other. LOD is level of development. That it is consisted of two parts: level of details and level of information. So level of detail means the level of the details that an element has in a project. Simply, LOD or level of detail actually will define that how much each model must be accurate, complete, and complete. Yeah. So for example, a wall in LOD of 100 is displayed just as a kind of simple volume, but in LOD 400, the same wall, all of the bricks, I don't know, all of the details must be displayed exactly in there. So, but next to level of detail, we have another comprehension in the name of LOI. I mean level of information. That it is not related to actually geometrical details, and it is related to data for each project. For example, when we have a door in our project, LOD is related to the shape of that door, but LOI is related to the information that that door has, like for example material, expense, weight, I don't know, number of that section, and anything else. So now let's check that how these two things work with each other. So LOD will define that how, for example, how much the shape of the element has got developed. So for having a kind of exact model, both of them must grow exactly next to each other. Maybe an element is complete about geometry, but the information is not complete. I mean, LOD is okay, but LOI is not complete. So, and vice versa. Unlike that, maybe the data is okay, but but model, of course, the shape of that is not that kind of okay. So now let's go for a new comprehension about that in the name of LOI and level of information need. This comprehension comes from the international standard ISO 19650, and it is the complete form of and version of the LOI and LOD. LOIN tells us that for each level of the project, how much information we need for that, for example, level. For example, the first of the designing, we don't need that all of the materials and all the thicknesses are completely clear, but we have to know the volume and actually position of the elements, and in the structure, of course, unlike that, all of the technical information, brands and materials of the things must be completely clear. LOIN will help us that the data of the project based on the real need of the project will be produced based on that and in that phase, not less, not more. That, for example, we lose the time or we waste the other things in here. So to be better, LOD will define the project about the shape of the project. LOI will define that how much the information has got actually entered into the project or model, and LOIN will define that how much in level of the project we need the information. So now let's go for types of LOD and let's see what the usages of them are exactly. Actually, in concept design, actually we need just the general ideas of the project. For example, at time of designing of the hospital, just we need for number of stories and general environment of that, and we don't have details. But LOI in this level actually is really low, and it is just for general information. For example, about function of each space. For example, this picture that you can see in here, it is just showing us and displaying the general volume in here. LOD 200 schematic design. So in this level, form and approximate dimensions of the elements will be clear, like columns and walls will be modeled with approximate dimensions, and the real volume will be determined later. LOI will be also more than LOD 100. For example, the materials will be defined generally. So in LOD 300 or design development, actually, the model will be more accurate about geometry. The real dimensions of the elements, the places, the openings, and connections will be clear. This level will be used for coordination among the teams. So LOI in this level will include some construction data like, for example, thicknesses, materials, or weight. So LOD 350, detailing design. So this level will be between designing and construction. So model will include the real details of the clashes and connections. For example, in mechanical detailing, we will have the exact way of the pipe and actually structure that we don't have any kind of clashes. LOI in this level will include the technical details for every part. So LOD actually for 100 construction. So in this level, model is completely ready to be constructed, and it could be used for construction of the actually sections. In big projects like factories, this level is necessary. LOI will include some information like I don't know, numbers, section, I don't know, the time of the connection and other things. And in the last level and last step, as built or LOD 400. So the last amount of the details is after construction. The model actually is reflection, the real reflection of the building. Any changes that actually have happened before must be recorded that the model will be exactly updated and real. So LOI in this level will be the most actually or maximum including all maintenance information and service for actually operation period. So the important question in here is, why is this column that kind of important? The reality is the detail actually will affect directly on time and actually cost of the project. Whatever the LOD is higher, it means that more details must be modeled, and it means that more time actually will be spent for coordination and checking. But the actually mistakes will be, the number of mistakes will be decreased, and the costs will be decreased too. So, and also we have vice versa. If we have more details at the first of the project, the time of the project will be long and will enter some information that we won't need them. And of course, it wastes and it increases the cost. So because of that, the BIM manager should manage actually LOI, LOD, and it has to know that how much details we need for every phase and every step. This balance is exactly the thing that will be defined by BEP. So as a kind of result, LOD and LOI will be actually like camera magnification accuracy. Whatever you zoom in, the we can say a more precise image is obtained, but we'll need more time. So for as a kind of conclusion, we learned up to here, LOD or level of detail is actually the level of the development of the geometry, and LOI or level of information will be the amount of the information that will be entered to the model, and LOIN will define that in each level, for example, how much information we'll need. So if you will define these three comprehensions, so well, we can say that we can decrease expensive, control them, and the project will be developed really well. And this is the actually intelligent information management, a thing that just a very good BIM manager can do.